Hello, everybody, and welcome into some Wednesday night money racing. The host tonight, FEG-PC, triple header action money marathon, and we are on race number 2 of 3. Thank you all so much for coming out. You are watching Austin Green on Ghost Racing Network. Let's get right down trackside as the drivers are getting rolling off grid, and let's get started tonight with your race info. Again, at Talladega Superspeedway to kick off 2024, and it's going to be the WNMM 133 here in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Looking tonight, race going to be 50 laps. I believe it's 100% fuel. We'll get word on that as the race gets started. Unlimited tires, one faster pair, and as always, fixed setups. Weather outside, 88 degrees. Looks like 30% humidity, partly cloudy skies, and winds at 6 miles an hour. 2.65 miles the distance here, one lap around Talladega. Track temp going to start at 115. A little toasty, but I think these trucks should be okay. Taking a look now at your starting grid here for the night. How about on pole, Matthew Baker to his outside, his ex-teammate Alex Hill, who's running solo tonight for Dale Cup. Back in third is going to be the first Hyper Motorsports truck in the field tonight. It's Justin Mills. Aubrey Thompson, his teammate, to his outside in fourth. Matthew Lee rolls off fifth. Ron Morse Jr. to his outside in sixth. It's going to be Ken McCall Jr. and Mark Vondell making up row number 4. Brandon Matz starts in ninth. David Sheets will round out your top 10 here tonight. John Mullahan from McCall Motorsports, he will roll off from the 11th position. And rounding out row number 6 is going to be Zach Range, one of our new drivers to the driver cam tonight. Show more of that here as the race gets started. John Ward, the captain for Hyper Motorsports, he will start in that 13th position with Nash Brambilla for Team PGR to his outside in 14th. Richard Elliott back in 15th. Logan York starts in 16th. Jeff Merck 17th. Danny Barnes at 18th. It's going to be Tony Cox 19th. And rounding off our 20 truck field, John Darnell, the Ghost Racing Machine. He will roll off 20th. All right, here we go. A lot of these guys warmed up after the race they just came off of, but this is the longest one here tonight. 50 laps to decide who is going to take home some of the big money here to kick off 2024. A lot of good things coming up in sim racing, and it all starts here tonight. Matthew Baker in the 5, Alex Hill in the 77. Into the Geico restart zone for the first time tonight. Green flag is in the air. Coming across to complete lap 1 drag race, but it's going to go to the 77 of Alex Hill further back. Already some shuffling. A couple people going to drop down to the bottom. That was Brandon Matson at 81. Monster Energy Chevy Silverado. Here comes Zach Range rolling with a little momentum now on the outside, trying to catch up to the back bumper of David Sheets. More action now up front. Alex Hill already getting aggressive. He tried to make a split there on Baker, tried to throw a block rather. Baker having none of it. Split, went 3 wide. He takes the lead, but just for a moment. Here comes Aubrey Thompson in the Hyper Motorsports 38 truck to his outside. Zach Range going to jump to the top with Nash Brambilla. 3x3 coming out of turn 4 on just a second of 50 laps here tonight. Now, we talked about fuel. It is indeed 100%, but these guys, they don't look like they have any plans to get to this green flag stop. Zach Range and Thompson now down to the middle. It's Brambilla up top. He's got help from one a little bit of the newer names. Looks like actually that might be Logan York. Take it back. He's in a different scheme here tonight. But on the bottom now leading as things start to settle out, it is Matthew Baker. The 77, though, of Alex Hill, maybe the biggest loser out of that move as he fell a couple positions. He might have a chance to jump back up. Zach Range will fade just a little bit, and it's not going to be the 77. Instead, it'll be Justin Mills jumping to the top. Those two are not teammates, but again, he sets that move up just about perfect. If he gets out maybe a little sooner or the outside's just a little bit more organized, I think you see him roll all the way to the front and drop back down before they get to turn 3, but nothing doing there, so they will stay side by side out of turn number 4. Going further back in the field, a lot of these guys, just as we talk about aggression, on the opposite hand, McCall Motorsports, a couple of their drivers sitting at the back early, just taking it nice and easy, no point in getting too aggressive, and the one at the back of it all is the man who is leading the battle for the PC over in FEG, Ken McCall Jr. Right now, well, I guess I shouldn't say right now, I should say back in 2023 was crowned the FEG Money Racing Champion, looking to see if he can continue and hold on to that title starting here tonight. He's got his teammate John Mullahan just in front of him. There's Tony Cox, one of the independent Ghost Racing drivers. Richard Elliott in front of him, another one of the Hyper Motorsports drivers. Mark Von Dell, good to see him back in the field tonight. Ron Morris Jr., John Darnell and the Ghost Racing Machine, John Ward. And just in front of him, David Sheets, the last truck, single file. Everybody else continues to remain 2x2. Up front, it is Matthew Baker getting a push from Alex Hill. On the outside, it is still Justin Mills and Zach Range. As we talk about Zach Range, let's go ahead and pause for a moment. Zach Range, as we talked about, one of the new drivers that is carrying an onboard camera for us here tonight. And there's a look at Zach. One of the things you don't see too often on the ovals, actually running what looks like an F1 or a GT wheel. And I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, those are not easy to do here. As steady as you got to be with the wheel. But there you go, Zach Range burst onto the scene less than a year ago, and since he has been making a lot of ground. There's a big push to Justin Mills on the outside, enough to get him cleared and maybe not Range. He'll go ahead and split as he jumps to the outside. Maybe the temps were getting a little too hot, or maybe he was just ready to go to the front. Nonetheless, he is one of our guys with an onboard camera here tonight, and the other one, as always, Tony Cox in the 72 machine. Talk about playing it conservative right now. He knows we still got a green flag pit stop to go, so I think you'll see the 72 stay back here. Saw him burst onto the scene over in Tuesday Night Thunder. Then he shifted to PGR. Here he is now in FEG. Man, what about the action we are seeing up front right now? Still 3x3, nothing else at the moment doing. The 77 of Alex Hill made the move. He gets clear back in front of Matthew Baker. He goes, but it's the top line really rolling. Only two in the middle with Mills and Thompson. That's not going to last very long. They're going to have to either get some more help or they're going to fall back in the sucker hole. And there you go. John Ward sees his Hyper Motorsports teammate lead in the middle. He'll try to get there, but it's Zach Range who jumps down first in front. That'll give Nash Brambilla a chance on the outside in the 18 machine. He's got help from Logan York. Alex Hill on the bottom. Oh, a little bit of a bobble now. Baker, he'll jump right back to the top. Nash Brambilla has no help, so now he jumps back down in line in the middle. Staying up top right now, looked like that might have been the 99 of John Darnell trying to stay committed. But they quickly get back down to 2 lanes now. We talked about the track temp right off the start. Take another look. It's actually cooled down here just a little bit. In fact, it is at 114, so a little shocking to see that that outside line is not continuing to roll as you would have thought right now. Partly cloudy skies. If these guys get a little cloud cover, that'll help cool that track temp down even more. And sim time right now is about 3:49. So that track temp, we'll see if it goes down or a little bit higher before it starts to drop here for the rest of this race. But as we talked about with the green flag pit stops, you're going to be looking probably right around, ooh, man, close moment for Baker right there. Hold your breath. The 5 machine getting really loose. Oh, still on the apron. He's trying everything to save it. He's just going to have to bail out of this. All the way on the apron. He's still wheeling and dealing. What in the world happened there? It's not going to work. They're wrecking Merck around back into his teammate. Looks like Ron Morris Jr. is involved. More contact even further back. Caution is out for the first time here tonight. 72 of Tony Cox comes to a halt just behind Mark Von Dell. There's Merck and Baker, the 2 NBG teammates. And I'm thinking they're not going to be too happy. That was a really odd look. Couldn't tell if Matthew Baker was getting really unsettled by Alex Hill trying to push him or if he had some sort of other issue. But nonetheless, you saw the damage on a couple different corners there for the 5. He's got it on the left side, the right side, the rear, the front. We'll see if he's able to get it optionally fixed or if he's got to use that one and only fast spur of the night. But here we go. Let's back this up and take a look at just about everything that happens here. This is really, really weird. Let's back this up to where it first starts. So here you go. Going into the corner, Alex Hill, you see he's not on him at all. There's Baker. And Baker on the apron, still on the apron. Alex makes a little contact finally, but then Baker's in some trouble here. I wonder if he didn't have some sort of technical issue. And then Merck, his teammate, kind of follows, which again is another one of those things that throws you off guard. You see the 60, sees the 5, and does he get some help here from David Sheets in the 06? We'll have to go to the chopper cam to see. I think that's what's going to happen to Merck. So Baker getting off, that did cause a little bit of a checkup, and watch Jeff Merck, everybody getting out of the pipes, and oh man, it's close, but I think David Sheets makes just slight contact with the right rear. Jeff Merck, that sends Merck onto the apron, trying to save it. Overcorrects and back up into traffic. Ron Morris Jr. nowhere to go. And now you're going to see Mark Vondell pile in as Matthew Baker ends up ultimately getting collected. Boy, Ken McCall Jr., though, has a moving chicane right there. He's able to miss it all. And then I don't think Tony Cox got too much damage. Looked like he was able to come to a halt before that got too nasty. Here we go. This is the onboard for Matthew Baker. Again, this was a really, really odd look. Take a look from his cockpit and see if there's anything that maybe tells us a little more of what exactly went on right here. He gets onto the apron a couple of different times. Hold on, I want to go to the chopper, rather TV follow here one more time. So as they get into the corner, does Alex Hill give him any sort of offset push? Maybe a little bit. Again, it doesn't look bad for what we know Baker can handle. And then once he gets on it here, he can just never seem to get off. And then once he finally bails out, he gets down here and initially saves it. But yeah, that was really odd look for one of the veterans of the series, to see if maybe we can get some insight on to what exactly happened right there for Matthew Baker. Nonetheless, as we take a couple more looks at this one, first one being from the fan cam, they had a pretty good look at this as it came out of turn 4. Jeff Merck, I think, probably going to get the worst of this. He makes some pretty heavy contact. He's lucky, though, he didn't get T-boned right there by Ken McCall Jr. That certainly could have been a lot worse. Talked about Ken McCall Jr. just sneaking through. Here's the view from TV6. There's Jeff Merck going around. And then, man, he just barely hooks the back of Baker. But it's one of the odder wrecks that we've seen in a little while, and it does indeed bring out the first caution here of the night. Not going to have too much of an effect on strategy, but it is probably going to bring everybody down. Take some fuel, maybe some tires if you're towards the back. Get lined back up and get back at it. So 9 laps complete, and your leader at the moment is Zach Range in the 043 truck. Just behind him is Justin Mills for Hyper Motorsports, followed by his teammate Aubrey Thompson, Alex Hill back and forth, and Matt Lee currently rounding out your top 5. We've got a couple people in the chat already. Hope everybody is having a good night. Looks like John Darnell, who we saw early. Mike Warden here as well. Good to see you. Baker's mom, Shirley Cox, rooting on Tony Cox. And then the man himself, Jeff Ford, Ford Entertainment Group, putting the action on for these drivers tonight. Says, let's go. He's ready to go. Looking good, Zach, indeed. And don't forget, if you're interested in getting in on the money racing action or you should know someone that is, check out the Discord for FEG-PC. We do have it down in the description, and that is how you can get started today. Well, I'll tell you what, we are going to hop over here real quick and see if we can't, well, I take that back. I was going to see if we could hop over and maybe get a quick word with Matthew Baker and company, but I don't see him in here. So I think we're going to have to hold off on that for now. On another note, looks like, do they get the one to go signal this time? I was trying to see if they were able to get out of the pits before they lost a lap. Ron Morris Jr., who you see, is still currently in the pits. Everybody in front of him is good to go, and I think Ron's okay too. Not sure how bad the damage was exactly on the 76, but certainly didn't think he got the worst of it. Got some front-end damage. We'll see if he's able to get back out here, catch the back of the field before we go back green. Now, talking about the pit stop here again. So we're 10 laps complete, going to go back green here with 11 complete. And on fuel at 100%, these guys can all make it probably about 30 laps, give or take a couple laps. So, of course, lap 40 at the latest, maybe 42. But it does mix in a little bit of strategy now in the sense of you can short pit or you can late pit. And, of course, you have the option to try to pit with your team. We'll see if that all pans out. And so some of the guys that had to line up towards the back of this pack, let's actually look at your biggest mover. Right now it is indeed Zach Range, Logan York, and Danny Barnes all at a three-way tie, up 11 positions from where they started. Don't forget about John Darnell. He is up over 10 positions from where he started this race at as well. And your biggest losers, of course, as a result of that last wreck at the moment, Matthew Baker, Mark Vondell, Ron Morris Jr., they are all back 10 or more spots from where they started this race. But you know Matthew Baker, he is not out of this thing just yet. And it looks like he chose to go with optional repairs, so he didn't have to waste that one fast pair he's got. We'll see if he's able to get back to the front here before these pit stops. And, you know, the driver mindset, a lot of people wonder, why not just take the fast pair? It's going to give you more speed. If you have enough speed by just fixing the optional, it almost allows you to be more aggressive because you know you're already partially damaged, so you figure, okay, if I get a little bit more here and I got to use the fast pair, that's okay. I've got it in the back pocket. At least I can try to get some track position. Versus if you have to use it, you're going to have to be that much more conservative. All right, here we go. Back into the trial. First restart of the night. Range and Mills, row 1. Thompson and Hill in row number 2. Green flag is back in the air. through the gears. It's a pretty even restart. Looks like the outside a little bit more organized. The inside, though, more trucks overall. And Logan York right here, he is going to play a key role, and whether this outside rolls or not, he needs to stay nice and tucked. Now Matt Lee looking to jump to the top. That'll make it 4 versus 2 range on the bottom. Just doesn't have the help he needs. Mills, he'll get clear as they enter the Alabama gang back straightaway. Does he take it? Not yet. We'll see how long he stays up. Now he's going to drop down. Alex Hill will take the lead on the outside. Is he able to get clear as well? He's not. They'll stay side by side. Logan York will move into the lead pusher position further back. Looks like John Mullahan now. John Darnell pulling up to the back bumper. Look for those two to maybe consider a 3-wide move. And then further back, Jeff Merck kind of holding what looks to be a second pack forming. They're all single file, and they're well within draft range, but a couple of these guys were involved in that last wreck, including Matthew Baker, Jeff Merck. We saw Ken McCall Jr. escape it, but I think he's still staying conservative. And there you see, looks like the 0-2 of Richard Elliott in this pack as well. Nash Brambilla, Mark Vondell, who was involved in that last wreck, and David Sheets in the 06. So up front, still 2x2. Nobody daring to take it 3-wide yet after that last incident. Oh, man. Justin Mills, he got really wobbly right there off of turn 2. That's just Zach Raines trying to help him out. And you talk about the trucks as out of the 3 series that we see throughout money racing, the next gens, Xfinity, and trucks. We know we see trucks the most. And of course, this is a series where these guys can be the most aggressive with pushing. In fact, you'll see when you're making progress, it's probably because you're tandemed up, as you see on the bottom right now with Mills and Hill. However, there's a couple parts of the track you don't want to push. And the biggest of those areas is right on the exit of the quarter. The truck unloads. That's where it's the lightest. And if you get a guy just barely off center, it's really easy to hook him or get him out of shape. That's exactly what we saw with Mills. And that little bit of a slip up in momentum is what allowed Alex Hill to get the momentum, make the move, and ultimately clear the 2. Logan York now up top with Matt Lee. A couple of really strong pushers. But further back, the single file continues. Just as I say that, going to be a group of them that are actually going to hop out now, being led by Ken McCall Jr. Baker and Merck still going to stay on the inside. I think they're content to stay single file for now, but looks like Ken McCall Jr. gets a little help here from Nash Brambilla, Mark Vondell, David Sheets. Mark Vondell will drop down to the bottom lane. And so that'll just leave Ken and Nash at the top. Now Sheets will pull up to the back bumper. And if they get a surge and they get all the way to the front, they're going to have a run. Will they go anywhere with it, or will they stay in line? Logan York going to get split out of the pack. I'm thinking Alex Hill went back up to the top to make a block. Logan probably tried to split him. Oh, big wreck. Hard into the wall. Goes to the 7 of Danny Barnes. He is not the only one. The 99 of John Darnell is in it. So is Logan York, David Sheets. Matthew Baker down on the apron. I think he escapes. There's a little post contact. But John Darnell looking like he may have gotten the worst of this one, along with Danny Barnes in the 7. Yeah, Danny Barnes, he's got smoke out the back, so that'll be a fast pair for the 7, hands down. And just as things seemed like maybe they were calming down a little bit, second caution here in just the first 15 laps. And remember, each caution we get is slowly fading away the chance of seeing a green flag pit stop. But they should still be in the window after this one. Let's go back and take a look at exactly what goes wrong here. First from the TV follow. Look at the contact right there on the bottom. Danny Barnes and John Darnell. The 99 right in the middle of your screen. Ooh, looks like there's a pretty significant amount of netcode just from that view. Chopper view is going to tell a lot better story of it. So here we go. They got 3 wide. You see that was York on the outside. And in fact, before we take a look at that, let's back this all the way up to the move that I think is going to ultimately put Logan York 3 wide. And so here you go. Alex Hill jumps up. Logan York wants none of it. He tries to split him. Matt Lee says, no, thank you. That's my old teammate, and I'm going to stick with them. Stays with Alex Hill. Mullahan doesn't pull out either. So Logan York, he took the risk. Unfortunately, just no dice that time around. But here you go. Slow this back down. Yeah, there's definitely some netcode right there. Chopper view says it all. There's still some good distance. So watch. John Darnell, he does come down. It's hard to say. They may have made contact even if there wasn't netcode, but that's what ultimately sparks it. And then that turns Danny Barnes hard into the outside wall, along with John Darnell and Logan York, who have nowhere to go. And then David Sheets commits to the outside, trying to check up. And he does, unfortunately, run into the back of Danny Barnes, but I don't think it's that bad. And then there's the little bit of extra contact right there between Matthew Baker and David Sheets. I don't think that's going to add any extra damage to either of those two trucks. Let's take a couple different angles of this one. And the only thing I can think there is, as we saw John Darnell coming down, is maybe he was trying to hop in behind Danny Barnes. It did look like there was maybe a small gap, or maybe he was just coming down for a side draft, and unfortunately, a little bit of a misjudgment mixed with a little bit of a netcode sends the 7 truck hard into the outside wall. Look at that contact. As I said, we know it's a fast spare for Danny Barnes. He had smoke coming out the back, but John Darnell, I think that's going to be a fast spare for him. And Logan York, you almost have got to believe that'll break the right front suspension. So this one might collect 3 fast spares out of the just 20 trucks that we have here tonight. And that becomes significant, and how the pace of this race will change the rest of the way. So we take another look here from TV3. Man. David Sheets, you commit to a lane, everybody thinks it's easy to miss, and it's not. Sometimes you just kind of, like a deer in a headlight almost. You lock up the brakes, you're hoping they're going to clear the way. The C's will part. Sometimes they do. Sometimes, unfortunately, they just don't. Let's take a cockpit view of this with John Darnell. Danny Barnes, as he had kind of a blindside hit on this. I was going to say a prime view, but not so much. He almost actually drives out of it. Unfortunately, when you get turned that sideways here at Talladega, you're just not going to be able to save it. We'll take one more look here from the TV follow cam. And so it's a 3-truck incident that brings us under our second caution here of the night. Back up front, it's Alex Hill leading with 16 laps complete. We're going to take a quick break, but we'll go side by side so you don't miss a thing. Stick with us. We'll go green when we come back to Talladega. Front, now we're going to see a little 4-wide action.
Crazy out of the triangle.
Oh, he gets over it in the lead under record.
3x3 entering
3
4.
deep. At the flag stand, side by side, it's going to be Jason Maines winning it at Talladega. Welcome back to Talladega Superspeedway. Still not quite to the halfway point of the WNM 133, but it's been a good one so far here tonight. Still a lot of action to go. 17, going to be 18 laps complete when we cross the start-finish line. Alex Hill and Matt Lee in the front. Mullahan and Mills both in the 2-truck in second row. Green flag is back in the air. Good initial start for both lanes. A little bit more organization right off the get-go for the bottom. More trucks as well, but Logan York, Tony Cox going to be a big factor up top, along with Aubrey Thompson, who will get the momentum off of 2. We always talk about that first lap being the lap that you want to be able to make that move, especially if you're on the outside. That's why a lot of times you'll actually see guys choose the outside. But in this case, you have got a veteran pusher and a guy that just the hot streak seems to not – there's not an end in sight right now for John Mullihan. He continues to get cash spot after cash spot. When you've got him pushing you, you know he is going to be content to stay right there. It seems to work out the best, and sometimes – patience pays off. So right now, John Mullihan on the bottom doing a nice job keeping Alex Hill in the front. On the outside, though, Matt Lee with Justin Mills. They're going to stay there and hope that this inside eventually runs out of temperature. Aubrey Thompson up there as well, winner of the American 500 over from McCall Motorsports Money Racing. They still stay side by side. 19 going to be 20 laps complete. And that's important because when we hit 20 laps, that fuel window's open. In fact, it might be open right now. I still think it's a little early to get in there, especially if you're the second group. You want to make sure that you're up to that front pack before you think about pitting. And right now, looks like it's actually Matthew Baker who finds himself a little bit off the back of this lead draft, so nothing just yet. And actually looks like John Darnell, Danny Barnes still off track, Ron Morrison. So I'm wondering if I had the race info wrong here, unfortunately. Thinking maybe there wasn't a fast pair in the agenda tonight because these guys were all the guys that would have needed one. They're not back out on track, so I might have had that wrong based off what I saw in pre-race. And so if that's the case, man, that really changes the entire feel of this race. If you don't have a faster pair, I don't know if you're up here racing right now. And in fact, if you're some of the guys that have damage, just as I say, Ron Morris Jr., looks like because he had another issue here just as we went back green. It showed a problem for the 76. I'm not sure if I don't know what happened here for Ron. You see he's trying to come off the pits, gets out clean, gets across the start-finish line, and then looks like just as quickly as he comes out, he decides to go to the side and park it. So tough break for the 76. Not sure what the deal is. But up front, they stay side by side. Matt Lee on the outside, Alex Hill on the inside. Mullihan still second on the inside with Mills. Second on the outside, Aubrey Thompson. Third, no moves to be made just yet. In fact, you see Jeff Burke, he's decided to turn it back up a little bit as he's caught up to the back of that outside group. So he's going to choose to stay on the outside for now. Tony Cox, the first man in line for all the trucks, stay in single file. But that second pack, they did catch back up. The only one you had to worry about here was Matthew Baker. And unfortunately for him and Logan York, looks like they are not with the lead pack. There's the damage on the right side of the 48. So as they continue to draft back here, they're going to have to hope for a caution, I would think. And actually looks like they might switch spots here. Baker, maybe with just a little bit of a cleaner truck, they'll run a little bit faster if they switch. Baker going to be able to punch a bigger hole through the air than Logan York is. Maybe I should say a little bit of a better slipstream. And so they're already about a quarter track back from the leaders in just the span of a couple laps. So they will go a lap down before this race is over if we have a long green flag run. And as I say, a long green flag run, if they were to make that green flag stop right now, they would make just right on that mark for 30 laps, but you wouldn't have enough for overtime. So I don't think you even consider a pit stop here until maybe we get to right around lap 25, and then maybe it starts to open. But I almost don't think we'll see any of these guys go until we get probably at least 30 laps complete, maybe more towards 35. Everybody wants to see if that we can get a little bit of clean racing in here in a green flag run, because you don't want to pit and then get a caution, as that's just going to hurt your strategy. So when you get a race that seems like maybe it's going to be a little bit more of, I don't want to say a caution fest, but a little bit more on the caution-filled side, you play that strategy a little bit for the longer run as Alex Hill makes the move back to the top in front of Matt Lee, and that's finally going to give John Mullihan a chance to cool down in the two machine. He had been pushing Alex Hill on the bottom for quite a while, so that'll move Zach Range up a position as well. In fact, let's ride on board here with the driver of the 043. Just as we go to it, wanted to bring up the dashboard speeds as well. These guys are moving 188 down into turn one, but watch the speed they get up to by the end of the backstretch. That's a huge surge of momentum on the bottom. Oh, it's not going to work. Contact. Range hard up into the wall. Alex Hill gets turned as well. Brent Billa sneaks through the two of Justin Mills with nowhere to go. And now Alex Hill going to slide. Oh, he gets T-boned right at the end by Justin Mills, who had nowhere to go. More damage to the 77. And under your third caution here tonight in just the first 25 laps, the struggles continue. Man, oh man. Looked like initially it wasn't too bad. I think Alex Hill might get the worst of this, but my question is more or less, what exactly happened here? I mean, from the onboard of Zach Range, the outside had died all of a sudden. And we saw Matt Lee behind Alex Hill. They're going to get clear here by plenty. So what you're going to see is Matt Lee, he'll actually drop to the bottom right in front of John Mullihan. That's what's going to really kill the momentum here for Alex Hill. And looks like Justin Mills gets to him. No harm, no foul. Oh, so that actually starts with Mills and Zach Range. And does Range creep up a little bit? You see Mullihan goes up a little bit. Range is going to try to sneak up to get back lined up. And at the same time, Mills creeps down just a little bit. But yeah, definitely going to have to say that's Range going up a little bit more than Mills coming down. We'll back this up here and see if we can't get a better angle from the chopper view. All right, so here you go. I think there's going to be a little bit of netcode again, and I know everybody gets mad when we keep blaming it on netcode. So we'll go ahead and call this what it really looks like to me. And I mean, yeah, just Zach Range coming up the track, and you know, there's a little bit, but I think they make contact right there. Just unfortunate timing and a little bit of an unfortunate situation. Nobody doing anything malicious, just one of those racing incidents. A little bit more towards the fault of Zach Range, but he was just trying to follow the truck in front of him. And then here you go, Alex Hill comes to a sliding stop, and Justin Mills may not have been expecting that as you see him lock the brakes, but just too little too late for him as well. Take a little bit of a different look. We'll go back to the TV follow cam. And as he gets up, yeah, there's just nothing either guy can do. I think Range and Mills get the worst of this. Yeah, that's heavy contact to the front end for both of those trucks. And then there's Alex Hill with a tank slapper to the left side before he slides back down. We talked about Justin Mills. Watch this. He's going to have nowhere to go. Trying to slow down. Gets hard on the brakes, but just runs out of room and does a little bit more insult to injury to the left rear of Alex Hill. So as he gets back rolling, we saw the onboard for Zach Range live as it happens. Watch the onboard here for Alex Hill. As we take one more look at this one here from TV4. Well, we've had quite a few racing incidents here tonight, but the aggression level continues to stay. And when I say that, I mean that kind of all stems from just aggressive pushing. That bottom had a huge surge of momentum as soon as Lee dropped down the outside, lost all its momentum. You get a little bit of a stack up, a little bit of disorganization. All of a sudden, Range gets a bit high, Mills gets a little bit low, and you get the contact. And from there, it's on. Talladega, there is nowhere to hide. David Sheets did a really good job of missing that. I mean, that was last second as we talked about Justin Mills locking it up with nowhere to go. In fact, I want to take a nose view here with Justin Mills. Should go to a cockpit view. He was in the initial part of this wreck, so he'd already had damage. You wonder if his suspension was messed up at all. Can't see anything, can't see anything. Gets out of the way here. He's going to get back to the throttle, maybe expecting the 77. Yeah, just not much to say about that one. That's a tough break for both of those guys. Here we go as we go back up front. Leading the way now is Aubrey Thompson in the 38 truck. Matt Lee in second, John Mullihan in third, Jeff Merck fourth, Ken McCall Jr. in fifth, Tony Cox sixth, Mark Vondell seventh, Brandon Matson eighth, David Sheets in ninth, and John Ward currently rounding at your top 10. So everybody came down for fuel and tires. And as a result, they should all now be good to go the rest of the way. In fact, I don't know how to say that, but we're going to go ahead and take a look here real quick just to make sure as these guys get ready to go back green. And so as I pull this up for just a moment, bear with me. And yeah, it looks like, yeah, no fast pair tonight indeed. So I've got a little bit of misinformation on that. I apologize for that. But looking at payouts here tonight, not sure exactly what they were based off of, but it looks like if they had 20 plus, which it looks like they did, it was going to be first to fourth payout. And only 25% pulled out of that. So yeah, some pretty sweet payouts here tonight. Don't think we have official word on what those are unless Jeff Ford in the chat wants to go ahead and state them. But with that, no fast pair, and then we talked about fuel. And it looks like for the fuel here tonight, these guys all had 100%. So yeah, they're good to go on fuel from this point. Don't forget, there is another race right after this for FEG-PC Money Racing. Race 3 to wrap up the Wednesday night Money Marathon. It's been a good one so far, but let's see if try to see if there's anybody we could pull up after that last incident. But I don't know if that's going to be the last one we see, because when you're in 25 to go and there's no more scheduled pit stops, that means it is time to turn up the heat. And I think that's exactly what these guys are getting ready to do. The big story, though, in this race, as we were just talking about, though, with that no fast pair, has been the amount of trucks that have suffered or had to retire early from this race. I mean, you go back, starts with Ron Morris Jr. He is back out on track. Unfortunately, though, he is not on the lead lap. In fact, he is quite a few laps down. It might be 14 laps down as it stands. Take a look on your scoring tower on the left. And then Danny Barnes in the pits, along with John Darnell, both of those two involved in the second caution of the night. Zach Range involved in that last run. Justin Mills looks like he was able to get back out on track. Logan York, Matthew Baker with damage. I mean, it's been a little messy here through the first half of this race, but 25 laps to go, a fresh half, and this is where McCall Motorsports starts to show that veteran presence. John Mullahan, he stayed at the front and kept it clean. His teammate Ken McCall Jr. and Mark Vondell, David Sheets as well. In fact, you got a McCall Motorsports train second through fourth on the inside lane. John Mullahan, David Sheets, Mark Vondell, Ken McCall Jr. all down there, and they all decided to keep it clean. Some of them stayed at the back, some of them stayed at the front, and now I believe they have the most running drivers left of any team out here. Close right now with Hyper Motorsports is Sean Ward, Richard Elliott, Justin Mills, Aubrey Thompson, all still out running. We got a good one. Here we go. 25, going to be 24 laps to go. How about a little crank it up off the green flag at Talladega? Here we go. And that'll do it for tonight's segment of Crank It Up. I hope everybody did enjoy. John Mullahan in the lead after showing patience early. But watch out. Here we go up top. The three wide action is rolling. Matthew Baker, Alex Hill, and John Ward trying to get to the front. You saw Tony Cox blink in the middle. Now we got one off. Ken McCall Jr. I think he had some contact with the 81 who was on his outside. That was Brandon Matz. He's able to save it. Now the 81 out of shape again. Oh, Vondell gets into it. The 81 goes around. Doesn't draw the caution as he spins down towards the inside wall. Heavy damage. Wasn't able to avoid the safer barrier. He gets back rolling, but that is a big impact for Brandon Matz. Man, what happened? Saw the initial contact there between him and Ken McCall Jr., but thought everything was okay. Apparently it was not. Go back this up. Watch this. This is all starts coming off of turn number 2. There you see Ken McCall Jr. in the 03. On the bottom, and actually no, Ken just jumps out here. I'm thinking maybe he didn't like what he saw. I thought he got contact with the 81, but that's not the case. You see Ken, he's going to jump off all by himself, so he bails out. It's actually Mark Vondell who's on the inside of Brandon Matz, and Brandon gets down, and Mark gets into the right rear, and then just kind of hooks him around. I don't think Mark meant to do that. I think Mark was trying to push him, but watch this one more time. So we take one final view of this and watch it slow here. So he gets clear and he does jump in front. But then Mark's going to get him just a little bit offset to the right. That sends him down, and as he saves it, Mark gets him in the right again, but this time it hooks him back up towards the right, and then he's just trying to save it. Unfortunately can't, and then bam, there's a tank slapper to the inside wall. Back up front, though, we are under caution. Trouble involving Logan York, Jeff Merck, and a couple others. There's Logan York. Looks like he was able to get back rolling. And then we talked about Jeff Merck also involved a little bit further back. And it looks like, yeah, he does have some damage on the left front. His Chevy Silverado. So now it's 20 laps to go when your fourth caution flies of the night. So here we go. Let's see what happens up here. Take a look at this from TV Follow first. Jeff Merck. Ooh, this is going to start with a stack up, and then Matt Lee gets into Jeff Merck. And I believe those guys are still teammates. Again, what used to be the almighty NBG. I know a couple of them split off, but I think these three still working together and still strong at these super speedways. And just not sure if this was miscommunication. Let's see from a full speed view. So they get a huge run on the back straightaway. I mean, these guys were absolutely moving. Mullihan, nothing he can do. Baker's going to get clear, and then looks like, yeah, just a little bit of a stack up. Maybe they were expecting Baker to go low sooner. And then that stack up causes Merck to go high, and then Matt Lee gets into the back of him and turns him around. And then we talked about a couple others collected. I don't think it was too bad all in all. Take another view of this from the TV Follow this time. So it gets down into John Mullihan. He saves it. And then further back, looks like Logan York. I believe he just goes for a harmless spin here. Yeah, actually, he wheels and deals, and he holds on to it as well. That was a phenomenal piece of driving from Logan York, and just about everybody that managed to hold on turned to what looked like was going to initially be the big one. And it's not that bad. So here's the onboard for Jeff Merck. Take a listen to the throttle. Yeah, so right there, he's expecting Baker to go down. Baker doesn't, so he tries to tuck back in behind him to help him. That's what causes the stack up, and then Matt Lee, as we talked about, just not much time to react. Tries his best to stay off of him, but unfortunately, again, one of those things were just a miscommunication, kind of a racing incident, and that's a pretty good shot for Jeff Merck. John Ward does make some slight contact. Don't think it's too bad for him, but that front end is a lot flatter than it should be for Jeff Merck. We'll see if he's able to get that repaired and come back out. So let's take a look at this one from the wall cam. Man, I'm telling you, I cannot tell you just how lucky everybody is that only collected one truck. I mean, it started at the front of the pack, and you had to see about probably 15 different guys dodge that one, but they all do, and they're all able to survive it. Jeff Merck on pit road now trying to get that damage repaired, as is Logan York. So up front, it's Matthew Baker leading John Mullihan, Aubrey Thompson back in third, David Sheets in fourth with John Ward in fifth, Ken McCall Jr. sixth, Richard Elliott in seventh, Tony Cox in eighth, Matt Lee ninth, and Nash Brambilla rounding out your top 10. Remember, as we talked about, at least top 4 getting paid out here tonight. I'm not sure if it goes back quite to the top 5 or not, but been a very interesting night for a lot of these drivers. Nash Brambilla still in the field, though, in ninth, trying to see if he can make something happen. Mullihan, though, just continues to impress. I wanted to see if I could get a word with one of these guys. I think we're going to do that. Let's see if we can maybe pull in one of the guys that are hanging out in the Ghost Racing Network Discord, Nash Brambilla being one of those. All right, let's see if we can get a quick word here with Nash Brambilla. Hey, Nash, this is Austin at Booth. Got a copy?
Yeah, gotcha.
Well, it's been a little bit of a different race, right? I mean, 20 trucks, not a huge field. But, man, it certainly felt that way. Been quite a few cautions. But here we go. We're in the final 20 laps. You're looking to cash out. You got a couple more spots to pick up. How you going to do it?
Yeah, I've just been playing it safe all race. Just been chilling in the back. My teammate John Darnell got taken out early, so that kind of stinks. But I just came in, got fresh tires, and I'm ready to go now.
Well, we see you in a lot of the different money racing series over in PGR here tonight in FEG. And I think a lot of people maybe don't understand that there's kind of a difference in what you get in terms of the racing product. And do you have to kind of take a different approach as a driver when you come into a race like this on a Wednesday night versus maybe a big show over there on Thursday night?
Yeah, I mean, Thursday night, you need to be in the top 10, have that track position as much as possible. When there's a 20-car field, you can play it safe, especially with no fast repairs. I mean, you just got to be there at the end. I mean, I think all of us are confident in driving up to the front if we have a good enough car. So you just got to have the car at the end, and you'll be there at the end of cash.
All right, well, I appreciate you talking to me. Hey, good luck the rest of the way, and we will see if we're talking to you at the end of this thing.
Yes, sir. I'm coming to the front, man.
All right, there you go. He sounds confident. He sounds ready to go. Keep an eye on that 18 truck. He never seems to disappoint. Almost similar to Kevin Harvick. You always ask yourself, man, where did he come from? And unfortunately for Nash, he's missing his teammate now of John Darnell, who was involved in that earlier caution. But speaking of cautions, put out a little poll. Let's see what you guys think. Will there be another caution? I'll tell you what, if I got an option to vote, I'm going to say yes. Again, 18 laps to go. A lot of money on the line here tonight with 20 drivers. And don't forget, with that race that's right after this, I think there's a good chance that Maybe you see a lot of these guys in this one, especially if you make some money. Whenever I'm in these races, if there's multiple in one night, if I win money in one of them, you better believe I'm doing the rest. It's almost like when the house gives you money at a casino. If you got it, you might as well spend it. And right now, Matthew Baker looking to make a pretty good comeback here on the night if he can find a way to cash in this one after being in a couple incidents here tonight. Of course, being the first caution, then involved in a later one as well. But the 5 truck, even with a little damage, still looking sturdy and strong up front. He will lead us back into the Geico restart zone with John Mullahan on his outside. Thompson and Sheets in row number 2. 17 laps to go. The high banks of Talladega. Green flag is back in the air. Right off the jump, the inside this time is the one that gets the advantage. Matthew Baker with a big shove from Aubrey Thompson. They're trying to get a truck length out in one, but this is where we'll really see how bad the damage on the 5 truck is. 2 versus 3, 3 on the bottom, 2 up top. This should be no contest for the bottom. Baker should be able to stay out in front, but don't count out McCall Motorsports. The chemistry's there, and so is the push from David Sheets. Holds Mullahan even, and now here comes the cavalry. Nash Brambilla up to 3rd on the outside. That'll move him into 6th overall. Try to break into the top 4. John Ward on the inside. Some of those Hyper Motorsports trucks, they're getting lined up. Earlier it was McCall Motorsports, and now you see the 38, the 92, and the 02. Richard Elliott, John Ward, they're going to move up to the top. Jeff Merck follows on the bottom. Logan York trying to close the gap. John Ward didn't like what he sees, thought about going back to the bottom. I think they're trying to let Aubrey Thompson up right here. That's exactly what they're going to do. See the 38 get up. And so now watch for Hyper Motorsports to jump up. They're not going to be able to bring Richard Elliott. Merck already jumped to the outside. Now they're not able to bring John Ward. But the 38, he'll have a shot at it here down the backstretch if he wants to take it. Not going to take it yet. Now he does. The 38 of Aubrey Thompson. He is going to try to drive this train all the way to the front. He's got help from Jeff Merck just behind him. A big push now from Ken McCall Jr. The 38, he will get clear into turn 3. Now he washes up a little bit. Jeff Merck has to reorganize himself, and now the middle starts to surge again with David Sheets. The bottom, John Mullahan. He is still hanging even. He has got a push right now, trying to do anything he can to hold on, but how much temperature does Matthew Baker have left in that 5 truck? And finally, with David Sheets dropping down to the bottom, that'll give the 5 a chance to cool. Now that puts the pushing on the inside of the hands of David Sheets' teammate, John Mullahan. Nash Brambilla looking for the lead in the middle. He said he was coming to the front. That's exactly what he does right now. Aubrey Thompson still on the top. David Sheets on the bottom. Now this is where, as a driver, you got to start to try to control lanes. If you're David Sheets, you are the man in charge. When you get into the turn, if you're in front of that middle lane, jump up. They're not going to be able to split you because they're 3 wide, but as Aubrey Thompson falls back, that's where you start to worry that second line's going to roll a lot better. No side draft to slow him down. David Sheets, though, able to jump back up to the top. No move from Nash Brambilla. And watch out, because what this has done is, as we've gone back to 2x2, it has re-lined up the Hyper Motorsports trucks, and just behind them, a couple of ex-teammates in Alex Hill, Matthew Lee. They're going to be back at the front before this race is over. 14 laps to go at Talladega. Back to the middle. Goes to 5 of Matthew Baker with Nash Brambilla. 2 on the bottom. No help. Logan York and Alex Hill stuck in the middle as well. Now Baker's going to go to the top. He's looking for a push from John Ward. That'll leave Brambilla to fall back to Logan York. Oh, big moment. He saves it as Logan York gave him a sour push. Oh, my goodness. Another close call. That'll allow Matthew Baker to get clear. He jumps down to the middle. David Sheets, though, still rolling strong on the bottom, and up top, John Ward. He's got 2 teammates lined up behind him. That's all he needs. Sheets gets up into Matthew Baker. More contact. Now Sheets gets sent down onto the apron. He's going to save it, but he'll lose multiple spots as they split out 4 wide. Back down to 3, coming to 13 laps to go as they cross the line. And they just continue to ramp up the action. We talked about fuel. We said they're good to go. They've got enough for overtime. So if you aren't going to go for track position right now, then you might as well stay at the back and hope they wreck. They almost do. Mullahan around. There they go. Logan York hard into the outside while Richard Elliott gets tagged by his teammate Aubrey Thompson. It brings out your 5th caution of the night. And this will give us a restart with less than 10 laps to go. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm just going to end the poll now because we got our answer. 6 votes, and we went 6 for 6. 100% said yes. And you guys were correct. Here we go. Let's go back, take a look. You saw them getting out of shape. I mean, this was a ticking time bomb, and it finally blew up. They were racing so hard. We were seeing punches thrown, lead changes left and right. And so here you go. Let's see how this kind of develops. So you got Matthew Baker in the middle. Logan York, he's in the middle. It looks like he thinks about going to the bottom here, but then he goes back to the middle. But it's going to be the push that he gets to Matthew Baker. And, man, that was a close call. So, actually, I take that back. I meant to say it's going to be – it's kind of an odd situation here. So, watch this. Right as Logan York arrives on scene is when John Ward jumps down. So what this does is causes a little bit of a stack-up effect. There you see Logan York gets on the back bumper of Baker. I'm not sure if he thought he was clear and maybe tried to drive down, but Mullihan was still there. He gets into Mullihan. Mullihan on the apron trying to save it. Not sure if they make more contact there or York just trying to go back up, but when he does, now Alex Hill is there, and they make contact, and that right rear gets hooked, sends him up the track. He takes out 2 Hyper Motorsports trucks in the process. These guys all with just nowhere to go. Richard Elliott hard into the outside wall. Aubrey Thompson with nowhere to go. But I think besides these two, yet again, somehow everybody else is able to dodge it. And I don't know if this will be one of those wrecks that eliminates any trucks, but it's certainly going to send a couple of the teammates for Hyper to the back and going to cause some optional repairs and ultimately some damage that will not be fixable to the 38 and the 02 truck. Let's go see if we can take a look at this from the chopper view, and then we'll go on board with Logan York. Watch this full speed. This is how quick things happen. Makes a move down, not clear. Maybe tries to get back up. Maybe a little net code, not sure, but here's the heavy contact between Aubrey Thompson and Richard Elliott, the 2 teammates. Let's go take a ride on board here with Logan York. This will tell you all you need to know about this second bump right here. So here you go. As he gets the run, sees the checkup, tries to dive low, not clear, and then just tight racing. What can you do? We have seen it so much here tonight. You like to see nobody doing anything malicious, but man, we were coming to 12 laps to go, and it's go time. And if you're Logan York, maybe you won't do it if you had another chance at it, but when you're going 190 miles an hour, you only get a split second to make a decision. He tried to make one there. Unfortunately, looks like it just may not have quite been the right one. But again, he was able to roll off, and I think he will live to try to go to the front again. Take one more look at this one here from TV6. Man, look at that view. They were 4 wide for just a moment here as Alex Hill gets there. 4 wide, but not enough space given. And then watch this hit right here for Aubrey Thompson and Logan York. That dents the right front heavily on Logan York. Then Richard Elliott going to act as kind of the cushion right here to help slow Aubrey Thompson down a little bit more. And up front, I think it might have been John Ward who came out with the lead after that. We'll go find out up front. Well, it looks like it's actually being scored as Matthew Baker in the front. Nope, it is indeed John Ward. Baker up top, though. So he's being scored second. Nash Brambilla back in third. Alex Hill fourth. Matt Lee in fifth. David Sheets sixth. Jeff Merck seventh. Tony Cox in eighth. Mark Von Dell. Been a good night for him. Still hanging around the top 10. And then rounding out top 10 right now is John Mullihan. Tony Cox as well inside the top 10 right now in ninth. Checked up on him earlier, but he's been able to keep the 72 clean for the most part. I think he had a little bit of contact in one of the cautions earlier, but no harm, no foul. And the driver of the 72 looking to see if he can get a cash spot here tonight. And so they should come around to get the one to go signal right here as they work their way through the tribal. And as they do so, let's head over to our advertisement board for just a moment. Take a look at what is next up on the agenda. Friday nights, the big Friday opener for FEG-PC Money Racing, and it's broadcast live on probably the best iRacing broadcast network around right now, at least that I've seen. LSR TV, LiveSimRacing.com. Go check those guys out. Same broadcasters you see in a lot of the Pro Series, including the College Series. Terry Radford, and I believe the other guy is Wesley. Man, they do a phenomenal job. So make sure you don't miss out on that, whether you're racing or tuning in. Big money going to be given out, $300 to first, second, third, $100 to fourth, fifth, and sixth. 7th through 12th, going to be getting $50 as well. Over $1,500 worth of money going to be paid out in that race. And then tomorrow night on Ghost Racing Network, we head over to the PGR. I don't think it's called Thursday Night Heat anymore, but it is now PGR Esports, and tomorrow is going to be the 2023 PGR Series Championship race. So still normal format, but $35 entry fee is going to result in some big payouts. $400 to win, $300 to second, $200 to third and fourth, $140 to fifth, $100 to sixth, and there you see it. highlighted in pink, $100 bonus and a trophy to the highest finishing 2023 PGR race winner. And how that works, any driver that won a PGR race in 2023 that is in that race, whichever one finishes the highest out of those drivers, they will have a chance to go for that $100 bonus and the trophy. I didn't even realize, but Michael Triscaro hopped in the chat and said, can't wait to return to money racing tomorrow night. Took a little break, and tell you what, Michael, I can't wait to get broadcasting again tomorrow night. And I believe, again, a little teaser, but I believe we might be having Dawson joining us in the booth tomorrow as long as we get approval from my co-host Matthew Baker, who finds himself in the front right now. And I bet if I asked him after this race if he finishes where he is now, he would say yes with a big smile on his face, as happy as he would be to take home a win here tonight. So the lights are off. That means it is indeed 1 to go, and it's going to be 9 laps to go in the race. Remember, if we can make it to the white flag 8 laps from now, then the race will be official. But we've already had 5 cautions so far. I think these guys might be due for 1, maybe 2 more, especially with the aggression that we've seen. Remember, no faster pairs, but it's go time. Watch for the 3-wide move further back. Ken McCall Jr., you know he's going to be coming to the front at some point. So is Logan York. Richard Elliott. Ron Morse Jr. still not on the lead lap, but he's trying to get back on it. Green flag is back in the air. 9 laps to go at Talladega. Right out of the gate, an even start, but that inside is not lined up. Mullahan, though, he will quickly get to the back bumper of NASCAR and Billa, going to try to get him up to John Ward. Matthew Baker got a good pusher on Alex Hill along with Matthew Lee lined up behind. That is 3 really strong trucks, but is the damage affecting the 5 truck? Watch the way the momentum swings here on the backstretch. Right now, it's the 92 of John Ward out in front. Baker getting as much of a push as he can from Alex Hill. More organization on the bottom. That'll keep John Ward out in front as they race down into turn number 3, climbing over 30 degrees of banking. Nobody dares to take it 3 wide just yet. Remember, it takes about a lap to really get these trucks wound up and get going, and you got to get some space in order to get some room. And there you see the space for the 72 of Tony Cox, along with the 2 of Justin Mills. All going to get a run. We'll see if there's any moves to be made. Some guys probably going to try to sit back here, wait for 1 more wreck, but with only 8 laps to go, race is on. Matthew Baker going to jump down to the bottom. He got clear coming out of the tribal, took full advantage of it. That pushes John Ward back a spot. Now the lead pusher in second. And Alex Hill, oh, he's going to get turned. Do they save it? They do. Now that lead gets turned down in the pack. He gets into Mark Vondell. Out into the outside wall they go. Tony Cox drives through. And another 2-truck incident. This will bring out your 6th caution of the night. Vondell gets back rolling, and he's pretty banged up on the right side and the right front of that truck. We'll see if he's able to continue, but, man, they almost saved it. You saw Matt Lee, unfortunately, get turned. It's just a product of this aggressive racing. We keep seeing it. We're going to keep talking about it. But it all starts with the push here to Alex Hill. And remember, we keep talking about you can push in the corners, but you have got to be dead square. And I think Matt Lee is going to get just a little offset right here. Watch the 04. Gets to the back to the 77. Boom. There it is. Back that up, played in slow motion one more time for you. So the initial hit, it's square. Right there, he's good, but there you go. He's going to get offset to the left. And right there, that second push turns Alex Hill down into the 92 of John Warden. I don't know how he saves that. I mean, I think he gets lucky that he hits John Ward in the middle of his truck and not the rear. Otherwise, that's the big one. But then, as a result, Matt Lee trying to check up to let him save it. Gets up high. They get 4 wide. Merck, nothing he can do. Trying to miss him. Gets into Matt Lee. And then Mark Vondell gets hard into the outside wall. Jeff Merck somehow misses it. And then there you see Tony Cox hard on the brakes as well. And I think Lee is actually going to get just out of the way before Tony runs or gets up on the scene, if you will. And he's able to get right around these guys as well. Let's go back, take an onboard view here with Matt Lee. There's a couple onboards we need to see through that one, including Jeff Merck. I mean, I don't know how he misses it, but he's going to get just slightly offset. Watch the push right here. He gets up to him, and boom. It doesn't take much. A little bit of a hook, and then once he gets turned around, there's the hit from Mark Vondell, who had absolutely nowhere to go, and then Lee trying everything to drive out of it, but just nothing doing. Watch this now for Jeff Merck. We talk about close. We've seen a couple close calls tonight. You're not going to see one much closer than this. There's the contact, but then right here, watch this second. I don't know how he misses Mark. Oh, my goodness. I think maybe he barely touches him, but if he does, it is not by much. And then the other close call was for Tony Cox. Sees it happen in front, checks up, going high, going high. Where are they going to go? Can't tell. Hard on the brakes. Best decision he could make. Oh my goodness. I don't know how Tony misses that, but he does. If we take another look from TV6, I saw Merck jump to the outside, of course, when they first started wrecking. I mean, he's just trying anything he can here to not make contact with Matt Lee, but fortunately, when there's a checkup that big, it's just too hard to slow up. So watch this. He's going to see it, and I think at this point, Merck maybe thinks that Alex is going to wreck, so Merck tries to jump up and maybe trying to get behind Lee here, but yeah, just too much of a checkup too quick, and then that's a really tough break for Mark. He almost gets through it, but then you see right at the last second, he gets hooked, and this is almost a dead perpendicular hit into the outside wall, and he keeps going. I just can't get over the save, though, from Alex Hill. I mean, whether he's got a team or not, whether he's up leading the front, he always finds a way to impress you, and he's going to do it again right here. Watch the hands on the 77. I mean, think about how fast you have to react. Man, to have the patience there to not overcorrect. I mean, that is just a phenomenal piece of driving for Alex Hill. As we take one last view of this wreck, take a look here from TV4. Mark Vondel. It's been a rough night for the 59. Keeps going to the front. Keeps getting caught up in some of these incidents, but I'm not sure if that'll be a race ender for Mark Vondel, but certainly damage that's going to hinder his chances at cashing out here tonight. So it's Matthew Baker being scored still as your leader. John Mullahan in second. He's up 9 overall through this race. John Ward and Ash Brambilla making up row 2. They are both up 10 positions from where they started. Alex Hill back in 5th. David Sheets in 6th. Ken McCall Jr. in 7th with Justin Mills 8th. Tony Cox in 9th. And Richard Elliott rounding out your top 10. Appreciate everybody that's been tuning in at some point or still currently watching here tonight. Going to be coming to 5 laps to go when we'll get to 1 to go. So it's going to be a 4-lap restart here at Talladega. So a natural green-white checkered plus 2 laps. And if you're just tuning in, you like what you see, and you're not, make sure you go follow us here on YouTube. Give us a subscribe. It certainly helps out. Like the video. Leave a comment. And hopefully we see everybody back out tomorrow night. I'll tell you what, as they get 1 to go, let's see, I believe we have John Darnell as well hanging out in the ghost chats. Let's go see if we can talk to him here for just a moment. Hey, John, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy? Try him one more time here. Hey, John, this is Austin up at the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
Well, I'll tell you what, I know your race came to an end early, but, man, you've been sitting here watching, rooting on your teammate Nash Brambilla, and kind of sum up what you've seen tonight through a racer's perspective.
Well, I really feel like that caution was my fault, and I apologize to Danny Barnes. He knows it wasn't on purpose. But I know that my teammate, man, he's putting his nose where it needs to be right now. Proud of him. Baker's doing good. John Ward. It's just a lot of really tight racing up front.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's looked that way. Now, we're going to be coming to 4 laps to go. Now, I know this is kind of hard to do, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, but let's say that you're in the front right now. Which lane do you want, and what kind of moves are you making here to try to capture the win?
Well, when I got in my accident, the track temperature was 114 degrees. I don't know if it's changed that, any in the race. But me personally, I don't want to be stuck on the bottom. I want to be in lane 2 or lane 3, coming to the white flag.
I think you spoke it perfectly. Well, hey, thanks for giving us a couple quick words. We're going to be keeping an eye on your teammate the rest of the way, and thanks again for talking to us, John.
Yes, sir. Good luck, Brambilla. Good luck, Baker. Let's go.
All right, there you go. He's amped up for this finish, and so are we. Here we go. It's going to be a 4-lap shootout to decide the winner of race number 2 on the Wednesday night Money Marathon. Here we go. Back into the restart zone. Green flag back in the air. Good start for the outside line. John Ward, though, he's got a good push from Nash Brambilla. Matthew Baker will get clear. Does he drop low? He doesn't. John Mullahan, I think, was hoping he would. He doesn't, so now they're going to have to reline up, regroup, and they're going to have to set themselves up for the back straightaway. Now, though, with the 77 jumping up, that loses all the help on the bottom. Brambilla is going to have to push the daylights out of John Ward here if he wants any chance at keeping him at the front. Matthew Baker, John Mullahan marching right down the Talladega backstretch. Mullahan and Baker get clear, but it was Mullahan who made the move down to the bottom. John Ward pulls up to the back bumper down. Matthew Baker still up top, but he's got fresh temps and a pusher now with David Sheets. And so if you're John Mullahan right here, he has been the bridesmaid quite a bit recently, but he would love to bring home a win here tonight. It's going to be 3 laps to go when they cross the line this time. 2 more laps before this race is going to be official. Mullahan still on the inside, Baker on the outside, Sheets and Ward row 2. Back in row 3, Alex Hill, Nashburn, Billa. Nobody has decided to go 3 wide just yet. I think the first place you maybe see that move is the 77 of Alex Hill. Question is, does Ken McCall Jr. go with him, or does he try to help his teammate David Sheets on the outside? Mullahan jumps back up as they go down the back straightaway, trying to let the temps on the bottom cool. Also seeing that outside start to roll. Matthew Baker going to stick with him, gives a big push. The 2 will get back, clear the bottom. Not dropping down yet. Does he give John Ward the chance? He does. John Ward and Nashburn Bill are going to get back to the inside. Contact. They're going to wreck David Sheets down hard. Vicious crash. Coming out of turn 4, Tony Cox almost upside down. Caution is back out, and we will head to overtime. Matthew Baker's involved, and a lot of others. Logan York arrives on scene. We saw Tony Cox get the worst of it, and I'm not sure how that truck is even still rolling with the hits that we just saw him take. And you see the right front is destroyed. The suspension is totaled. Yeah, he's unfortunately going to have to bring that thing to a halt, it looks like, in tow, or if he does get back to the pits, that's probably going to be a night ender. Let's go back and take a look here. Well, Mullahan decided to commit to the top here, and kind of think Baker probably wasn't too happy about it. Usually when you get clear like that going into the turn, you drop down, but Mullahan sensing that the top is going to roll a little better, and ooh, it's going to be another one of those little bit of offset pushes right there. You see Baker gets just a little bit situated to the left from center of John Mullahan's bumper, and then when he gives him that shot, sends him right down into the 92 of John Ward. I thought they were going to save it right here, but then unfortunately there you see kind of the three truck contact with Matthew Baker, David Sheets, and Alex Hill. So there you see David Sheets coming up a little bit, and yeah, just again, everybody trying to check up, makes a little contact with Baker, and then Alex Hill makes some contact with him, and then Baker unfortunately not able to escape, and neither was Tony Cox. There's the big hit for the 72. He gets piled into by Jeff Merck, Ken McCall Jr. with nowhere to go. Justin Mills and Mark Vondell, however, they were able to dive low and miss it. As you see the 5 slide, and then Ken McCall Jr., Jeff Merck able to avoid any further damage. As you saw the 81 as well of Brandon Matz sliding through. Let's take a couple different angles of this one here. First from TV Follow. This was a big, big wreck. Biggest one of the night by far. Man, Tony Cox. This thing almost gets upside down. That was a heck of a ride. And then we had avoided a lot of big ones tonight. Guys were able to miss it. Nobody that was behind this wreck really able to miss this one. A couple guys come out unscathed, but I think that might just about end the hopes for Matthew Baker and Jeff Merck for the night, along with, unfortunately, Tony Cox, Ken McCall Jr., David Sheets. All these guys having great nights, had to fight back through some controversy, but comes to an end with a big wreck here that's going to send us to overtime. And we'll take an onboard next with Tony Cox through this wreck. And get ready, if you get dizzy easily, this one's probably going to get you pretty dizzy. Got up on the safer barrier. Quickly able to get back down, though. The fans, they had a good view of this one here. Take a look from the fan cam. Boy, John Mullahan had a wicked save in the process, and as a result, he was able to miss all this chaos. In fact, go back here, so we take one more look at this here, and watch John Mullahan, the save that he has right here. Almost similar to what we saw with Alex Hill. As he gets turned, he hits John Ward, but man, both able to save it along with Nashburn Billa, who was just behind it. Saves all the chaos to happen out back in the rearview mirror, the best place to see it happen. So as we go back live, talked about 3 laps to go right now, but it is going to be a 2-lap shootout. Our first green-white checkered. I believe these guys probably have at least 3 tonight if we were to need them all. But it is John Mullahan being scored as your leader, John Ward in second, Nashburn Billa back in third, Alex Hill fourth, Ken McCall Jr. in fifth, Brandon Matz back in sixth, Justin Mills currently being scored, Justin Mills in sixth, Brandon Matz in seventh, Richard Elliott eighth, Mark Vondell 9th, Matt Lee 10th, and everybody else on back still in the pits trying to get some damages fixed, get back out on track. Remember, we had no fast pairs tonight, so whatever damage you had, you either had to fix it optional or your night was over. And just from what we have now, I think we have at least 5 trucks already retired. Certainly been a heavy damage sort of night. We are getting ready to crown a winner, as the pace car will indeed flip the lights off. That means 1 to go. And so we will catch all the action. We're going to take one more intermission. We will be back for the green flag. Who's going to win it at Talladega? Stick with us to find out. Front, now we're going to see a little 4-wide action.
Crazy out of the triangle.
Oh, he gets into the lead under record.
3 by 3 entering 4.
3 do.
Blocked.
At the flag stand, side by side, it's going to be Jason Maines winning it at Talladega. Back live at Talladega Superspeedway. Here we go for the conclusion of the WNM 133. Up front, Mullahan and John Ward into the Geico restart zone. They go overtime. Number 1 is underway. And it's a good start for the inside. John Ward for just a minute there maybe spun the tires a little bit, but quickly gets going with the assist from Alex Hill. And remember, if these guys can make it around one lap right here and take the white flag, this race will be official. Got to keep it clean till then. Look at Ken McCall Jr. after being involved in that last wreck, still third on the inside. And it's John Mullahan who will have the advantage as they enter onto the Alabama gang backstretch. Nobody looking 3 wide yet. There's going to be the first move. It's David Sheets jumping to the outside. Who is going to help him now? It's Justin Mills and Richard Elliott. 2 of the Hyper Boys hopping up to the top. Logan York in the middle trying to go help Alex Hill. And while he awaits that help, John Ward's going to fade Alex Hill and John Ward, the only 2 in the middle. They're needing more help, and now they're going to get it. The 0-3 of Ken McCall Jr. Well, he thought about jumping up quickly, thinks better of it. He'll stay down, so it's John Mullahan. Oh, wrecking out back. It's Matthew Baker. Will we stay green into the pits? No caution. We will stay green. Here we go. White flag. Oh, wrecking big. We took the white flag, though. No, we did it. Yellow flag is out as they wreck coming across the line. I think we got it probably just feet before they crossed it. So we will rack them up and try it again. I mean, we had about 3 separate incidents there. I couldn't even tell you who all was involved. Saw Matthew Baker as one of the first guys to go around. I believe maybe Brandon Matz was involved. We saw Mark Vondell as well. So let's go back and see if we can't break down everything that went wrong through this one, starting with Matthew Baker and Matt Lee, the 2 that go around back here. And so they're coming up. In fact, let's go to the chopper view for this one. They were coming up on Logan York, who has probably got some damage, at least, from some of the earlier incidents. And is this just a checkup? Watch Baker. He goes high. Ooh, York with a little bit of a late block right here. You see, watch him go down here and then come back up. Here you go. Play it slow. Goes down. Baker thinks, okay, we'll just hold this line. Then he comes back up. Baker tries to go high. Lee not really able to follow, and that gets Baker out of shape. And then once he gets back down, as he gets behind on his steering, gets into Matt Lee. Oh, that was a hard hit for Matthew Baker. Just clipped. Right, that wall kind of curves in on the entry to the pits. Him and Matt Lee come to a halt, but I don't think this is what brings out the caution, as we had more trouble up in the tri-oval. Let's see what happens here. So they're 3 wide, and everybody just starts to get bunched together, and it is Brandon Matz, the first one that has some contact. You see he's in the middle, Mark Vondell on the bottom. Vondell washing up just a little bit here. I think he gets the left rear of Brandon Matz. That sends him down the track. Looks like initially he saves it here, and then we're going to have some more trouble as Matt starts to come back up. He gets up into the 2 of John Ward and Justin Mills, and then all 3 of those trucks go hard into the outside wall. There's the white flag, and you thought it was over, but just as quickly as he pulls out the white, the caution lights had came on. In fact, I mean, this was so close. This is probably one of the closest ones I've ever seen. Watch this. We're going to try to play it nice and slow for you to see if we can catch these caution lights. And to do this, we're going to have to go to the flag stand. And it's not quite the best view either. How about see if the restart cam. Actually, we'll go to the far chase. And watch the lights. You see it's green. Top left of your screen. Still green there. Still green. That's interesting. Certainly looks like it was green by the time they got to the line, but yeah, I mean, the leaders had taken the white while the lights were still green, but race control deemed it to be a caution within time, so like I said, we'll rack them up and do it again, and there's Mark Vondell getting spun, and as he goes down to the inside wall here, I don't think he makes any contact. Man, they continued the wreck further up. Somebody had a wicked save. Let's go back and take a look at that one more time. I think that was Aubrey Thompson. He's starting to make a name for himself in terms of the saves he's been able to make. And this one might have been the biggest one of the night for him as well. Watch the 38. I'm not sure if it was him for sure. Might have been Alex Hill. As they all wreck behind, the 38 goes to dive low. And coming back up. Yeah, it is Aubrey Thompson. Oh my goodness. A little Tokyo drift. He was throwing down some smoke and he still hung on to it. Oh my good. Watch this from the onboard. So he goes low, misses the initial wreck, misses the second one, the third one, the fourth one. A little bit of contact there, no harm, no foul. But look at this. Oh my goodness, how does he do it? Aubrey Thompson with another phenomenal save. And that keeps the 38 in this race. If he doesn't save that, he's tank slapping the right side into the outside wall. His race is over. Instead, he's able to miss it, and he finds himself in 12th. Nicely done, Aubrey. And so we get the one to go signal. And what was earlier a strong 20-truck field has now dimmed down to what looks to be probably about 10 trucks at most. I mean, we have had a lot of carnage here in the last 25 laps of this race. Shirley Cox says, good announcing. Thank you, Shirley. I appreciate it. Appreciate you guys all coming out as well. Julie Paul says, go Nash. We'll see what he can do right here. He's lined up on the outside, the exact position he would want to be in, especially with the pusher that he's going to have behind him, and Alex Hill. But don't count out the bottom. You have got 2 McCall Motorsport veterans lined up, John Mullahan and Ken McCall Jr. This is going to be a strong drag race to the finish. I don't think you'll see Ken make a move. He's going to stick to his teammates, stay loyal. That's just how they do it over at McCall Motorsports. And if you're Alex Hill, I don't know if you make a move here, and if you do, I think you got to save it until we're either coming through the tri-oval of the white flag lap or maybe just a little bit earlier, such as out of turn 4. If you make it too early, though, you're going to go straight to the back. He's going to have David Sheets behind him. Third truck on the inside is John Ward. And then Justin Mills, can't forget about him. He may have a shot at this thing when it's all said and done. And then Logan York back there as well. He's got damage, but still chugging along. That 48's got heavy damage. The front end, it's like he hit a couple different light poles. Quick reminder that I did forget to mention, along with PGR tomorrow night, a little bit earlier, going to be kicking off the action with a double header as we have the NOMA Gen 6 series. Man, I love broadcasting. That's one of the series that I've been the most excited about in the last couple weeks because you just don't see those cars anywhere else in this game. And they've put on a heck of a show so far at Daytona and Atlanta. And tomorrow night, they head to the Tricky Triangle. That race starts at 8:50 Eastern. Make sure you tune in or just drop in to say hi if nothing else. Certainly appreciate everybody that drops in at some point and lets us know how their day is going. So here we go. Green, white checker number 2. If we make it a lap around, this race will be official. If not, we will rack them up and try it again. Back into the tri-oval on the signal of John Mullahan. He's got a teammate behind him. Can he capture a win here tonight? Green flag is back in the air. 2 laps to go. And it's a good jump for the outside. Bram Billa is actually going to beat John Mullahan to the line. I don't know if that's a penalty. I don't think it is. It looked like it was a clean restart. He just got better help. But as they roll down into turn one, now it's the inside that starts to surge. As that outside fades, that almost charges it up to a degree. And watch here, Alex Hill, he is linked up. Ken McCall Jr. is not. The outside starts to roll. Now he gets unhooked. Where will the help come from first? It's from David Sheets on the outside. Nash Brambilla with another big push. Now Ken McCall Jr. gets back to the bumper of his teammate. It's not going to be enough. Nash Brambilla gets cleared going into turn three. He will drop down, and they stay 2x2. Alex Hill all of a sudden back in prime position. He might have a chance at stealing one. As they work their way out of turn four, it's only 2 trucks on the outside. They're going to need a little bit more help. Brambilla on the bottom with the stronger lane. Mullihan, if he gets clear, does he jump up? Last gas. Here we go. White flag is in the air. 1 lap to go at Talladega. And Alex Hill, that damage just hurt him a little bit too much. Nothing doing. He's got a little bit on the left front, it looks like. David Sheets continue to push, but it's all the inside right now. Nash Brambilla leads it coming out of turn 2. John Mullihan, Ken McCall Jr., they might be trying to scoot away. Not so fast. Ken will jump up to the top. So does John Mullihan. There's the block from Nash Brambilla. John Mullihan, nothing going. He has to stay to the back bumper of the 18 as now Alex Hill drops low. But watch out. You're going to get a charge up top. Brambilla looking for another block. Goes for 2. It's not enough. John Mullihan gets back to the outside. Now he's going to take the lead out of 4. Ken McCall Jr. Oh, they're wrecking up back. Brambilla gets turned. So does Sheets. It's going to come down to 2 or 3 trucks coming through the trial of Mullihan. No contest. He gets a push from his teammate, and he will win it at Talladega. McCall Motorsports goes 1-2. Matthew Baker comes through, brings home a podium, and it's heartbreak for Nash Brambilla as he gets turned coming out of 4 down the short chute. And man, that's a tough break. But what a win for John Mullihan. Don't get me wrong, he wasn't mad coming in 2nd, 3rd, any of the money spots. But it is that much sweeter when you get the win, and he was one of the few trucks that wasn't damaged, and you could see it in that last lap. He started to pull away a little bit after they made the move on Nash. And when they wrecked out back, it was no contest the rest of the way. Let's go back, take a look at this finish before we go any further and see what exactly happens here to Nash. I thought he was okay. Ooh, I think Alex Hill maybe is going to try to split him here. Ooh, no, Alex might get turned. Let's go to the TV follow view. So here you go, coming out of turn 4. Alex Hill gets a little contact from Mark Von Dell, and then, yeah, he is going to try to split the gap at that point, and just not really any room. Ping pongs off of David Sheets, gets down into Nash Brambilla. Nothing Nash can do as he gets turned around, and so does David Sheets. And then there you go. John Mullihan and Ken McCall Jr. coming through the tri-oval. Ken, not enough of a run, and even if he did, I don't think he had any problem with seeing his teammate to the victory right there because it was a well-deserved one. Up front all night, and he cashes out big time. Taking a look at your final results here for the night. Actually, these are a little bit off. Let's go ahead and pull up the race results. Apologize for that. It is John Mullihan capturing the win. Ken McCall Jr. brings home 2nd. Matthew Baker in 3rd. Mark Von Dell 4th. Alex Hill 5th. John Ward in 6th with Richard Elliott in 7th. Aubrey Thompson finishes back in 8th. Logan York 9th. And Justin Mills rounding out your top 10. Jeff Merck finishes 11th. Nash Brambilla in 12th. David Sheets 13th. Matt Lee in 14th. Brandon Matz in 15th. Tony Cox 16th. Ron Morris Jr. back in 17th with Zach Range in 18th. Danny Barnes in 19th. And John Darnell rounds out the field tonight. He finishes in 20th. We are going to go get your top 3 in here for interviews. Stick with us. We'll be right back. All right, and we're going to start first tonight with your 3rd place finisher, Matthew Baker. Baker, this is Austin in the booth. You got a copy?
Yep, I got you.
Well, did you really think you were going to get 3rd on that final restart?
No, I didn't think I was going to get there at all, but I saw them mixing it up front, and Matt was just stayed committed to me, almost blew up there. Well, we went into the 3rd lane, but they just all wrecked below us. and we're able to get the third, but that was a crazy race.
Yeah, it certainly was. I mean, we take out the fastest pair for the night. You get involved in a couple incidents early. You took a huge shot off the pit wall there in the last caution that we saw. I mean, how did you manage to recover from all that throughout the race, stay on the lead lap, and ultimately bring home a third-place finish?
Yeah, I just think that I just kept getting all the damage repaired that I could, and just hoping for more chaos, and it happened the whole time. And just able to get the third place and start the year off right with a funny race nonetheless. But excited for tomorrow, the PGR Championship, and able to call that with you tomorrow.
Yeah, well, luck at the beginning of the year is certainly a good way to start. Help from Matley at the end. Chaos, mix it all in. You bring home a podium spot. Before we let you head out tonight, is there anyone else you'd like to thank or shout out?
Yeah, just thanks to MBG, Baker Sun Construction, Coasting Thunder, Martin Sports. Thanks to Matt for giving me the push there, Mark, and Alex is working with us there. All the bad luck we were going through that entire race, we were able to at least get one into the money. Had some fun while we did it, but and thanks for broadcasting, Jeff, putting on the race.
Thank you for talking to us. Congrats again on that third place finish, and we will see you tomorrow night in PGR.
Yep.
All right, and that'll bring us to your second place finisher here tonight, Ken McCall Jr. Hey, Ken, this is Austin in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, but I got you.
Well, you bring home a cash spot, you bring home second, and you see a teammate get the win. Break down that crazy race for us.
Oh, man, that was nuts. I think we would have got a top four there, all four teammates. If Alex wouldn't have split them there and got into David, I think we'd have been good. That was a crazy race.
Certainly was. And again, I was just talking to Baker. We saw him getting a big wreck there at the last caution. Same thing for you, involved in that wreck with Tony Cox. Somehow you get the damage repaired. On that last lap, was the mindset just stick behind John Mullahan, or was there ever thought of making a move?
I think everybody in there had damage. I don't know if there was one clean truck up at the front, nowhere up there, but I do know I think the four teammates had the cleanest trucks, and that's the advantage we had there. I know Alex had a bunch of damage, but no, I had no intentions there to pass Mullahan at all. Just glad to see teammates get top three money spots there.
Well, you finished 2023 off right, and you pick it right off where you left off here for 2024. Before we let you head out for the night, is there anyone else you would like to thank or shout out?
Yeah, I got to thank you, man, for doing the broadcast. Thank Jeff for putting these things on. Thank them awesome teammates I got for sure.
Thank you for talking to us. Congrats again on the second place finish, and I'm sure we'll see you tomorrow as well in PGR.
Yes, sir, you will.
All right, and now that'll bring us to your winner here on the night, John Mullahan. Hey, John, this is Austin in the booth. You got a copy?
Copy, Austin.
Well, we talked about how consistent you've been, but in the same time, you've been the bridesmaid quite a bit recently. Not tonight in the first, well, I should say, I guess the second race in 2024 for FEG Money Racing. You bring home a win. How'd you do it?
Oh, man, first and foremost, couldn't have done it, obviously, without Kenny, and we had Mark Vondell and even David Sheets back here in a row. Unfortunately, Sheets didn't make it across the finish line and into the money. We'll work on that in race 3, but a hell of a start here in 2024 over at the FEG Series.
Yes, certainly was. And when we talk about consistency, it's really a mindset in drivers, right? I mean, we saw you playing it patient all night. You got to the front. You had a couple of close calls. But when you come into these races, how do you kind of decide the mindset? Do you kind of wait to see how the race is being and you decide if you want to stay at the front or the back? Or is it just kind of the same strategy each race and it's just working right now?
Well, it's a little different each race. In this race in particular, we had open qualifying, so that allows some guys who normally wouldn't be up front to start up front, and that kind of can create some chaos. Situations like that, I tend to lay back. Myself and some of my teammates included laid back this race, and as you can see, it worked out for both Kenny and I. Also, Mark Vondell, and we almost had Sheets tonight.
Certainly did work out well. Well, before we let you head out tonight, enjoy your first win of 2024. Is there anyone you'd like to thank or shout out?
Oh, yeah, obviously, man, Jeff Ford for running the FEG Series, you, Austin, up in the booth for putting on one heck of a show week in, week out, all the guys over at McCullough Motorsports, Kenny, Chris, David, Mark, Ron, all those, my boys Jackson and Carter, my fiance Brittany, all the guys at Canal Valley Key and Fob, and Will Jewelry alone.
Well, thank you for talking to us. Congrats again on the win here tonight. And as I've said for the other two, I'm sure we'll see you tomorrow night, PGR.
Looking forward to it.
There you go. John Mullahan going to have a chance to go back-to-back either in this next race or maybe tomorrow night. We will find out. Thank you all so much for coming out. Baker's mom enjoying the broadcasting as well. Thank to everybody else that came out. I hope you guys all have a great night. We'll be back tomorrow night. Until then, See you next time.